whenever I listen to Donald Trump, one of the president of America, he always talks about fake news. And whenever he hears about CNN, he'll be like, that's fake news. And there's one book I read by Ryan Holiday. It's called Trust Me, I'm Lying. It really explains how just average people can manipulate the media and make the media tell fake news. So as a media, how do you ensure that the news that you are giving to the people is the right news? And if that doesn't happen, like, how do you mitigate that?
Yeah. First, it's a very sorry situation we found ourselves as media globally. When you have leaders of the world discrediting media, and with it has tended to bring down the trust of media. Now, in any democracy, media plays a key role of making that democracy thrive. So you look at the way President Trump was attacking CNN, and you look at the other thing most Tanzania maybe are not following is if you look on the other side, Fox News was pro Trump. So it's a situation where someone doesn't want to be criticized, doesn't want to be challenged. And if you challenge me, you become my enemy. It shouldn't be that way. So that was a sorry state to be in. Now, how do you make sure that the content you are giving out is always factual? I think the reason we need to continue protecting the media and the journalists is the fact that with journalism, you don't done professionally. You don't embrace a situation whereby you are amplifying things, you are putting out information without verification. So verification is a fundamental principle of journalism. Verification. And with verification comes the balance, comes objectivity, comes fairness, and at times comes the need to minimize harm. So when you find yourself that we missed our facts, we misrepresented, the profession requires us to be the first one to retract the news, apologize. And I know editors sometimes notorious don't want to apologize, but you get very high respect by admitting that you got it wrong and you are going to rectify. I've been in those spaces as an editor, and I've seen when we were the first one to hold ourselves responsible, accountable, the public respected that. Yeah. So I think first, be very keen on your verification process, and as human beings, you'll get it wrong. And when you get it wrong, be ready to admit and apologize. Yeah.
So when I was looking through some of your profile, I saw something called 360-degree journalism. So for me personally, I'd like to know more about it. So could you explain what it is and how it benefits journalists and the audience?
Yeah, 360 degrees journalism, I think we are mostly talking then about something we try to do to have a rounded journalist. A journalist who will be able to come up with an idea, go out to the field, be able to feed on the social media. We had a timeline that if you are at a press conference, within the first 5 to 10 minutes of that press conference, we must have something up on your social media. Within half an hour, let's have something going into our website. And then you continue developing that story within the website. But at the end of the day, if you are coming from a radio station or TV station, then during the news bulletin, you have the information. But from newspapers, it means the next day, you do now a longer piece.
Okay.
And that longer piece will no longer be what happened, where, who did what. Rather, it will be more of why that thing happened, why did they do that, how did they do it. So it's a day-to journalism.
Okay.
So you go to the level of now explaining why things happened the way they did,
Yes.
or whatever was said earlier, what it means for you. So you do a lot of explainer. So we were talking about giving reporters the ability to be multimedia journalists. You are able to report on text, report on audio, report on video,
Yes.
and do it all around. It's a bit challenging. We succeeded to some extent, but I think it was not an easy thing to do. And with time, we've tended to go back to the basics, because now you realize you are missing the element of specialization.
So also in one of the LinkedIn posts that I saw was something very important that you talked about, which was ego. So as young entrepreneurs, I don't know why, but for some reason the ego is always high. So what is the importance of managing your ego, and what advice do you have on this to young people, young men and women that are watching right now?
The ego part is not for just young people. It's a difficult one to manage at all levels. And sometimes I think the danger about success is you quickly forget that there's failure. And from failure, I think, is where we create strength to be able to fight, to conquer our fears and what have you. So one wise man once said, to keep succeeding, you have to know where your success is coming from.
Yes.
If you are not able to tell where your success is coming from, you are not going to continue building on the things that made you successful. So, for instance, you are looking at yourself now, you've done 3 events, and on the third one, within a year, is a hit. Now, managing that success, the way you are doing it, you are all hands on the deck, and you had the fears of what will happen if we fail.
Yes.
But if you don't manage that, if you don't stay in that space of always humbling yourself down, you'll start saying, we are in this space, we have arrived, we can always win. So slowly you would start forgetting what made you succeed this time around. Mlikuwa mlali. And then you see, oh, we brought Ivusi, we've done this. We'll do it. We don't need to meet often. So you start clashing the basics, the way you are approaching your things,
Yes.
which is now the culture of doing things, the habit of doing things. And with that, you move from that space of fearing to fail, and you make every effort to succeed, and you become complacent. So that is where ego plays. Instead of preparing, you say, no, I'm now used to this. I don't need to prepare much.
Yes.
You see, I sometimes I follow these top global leaders who are good orators. When they speak, they move you. So the likes of Obama, when you hear the story of Obama, that will rehearse his speech times and again and again and again before he go to deliver that speech, which every one of you will be like, wow. But good as he still prepares. So it's that discipline of, I think, humility and humbling yourself that if this is how I get to succeed, this should be my way of doing things.
So how I'm understanding is, for example, as you give an example about us, if we say for the next event, we'll plan a week before, then we'll see failure very fast.
Guaranteed.
So
Guaranteed.
for us, or for the people that are watching, for whatever they do, whatever you've seen, how you succeed in that event, on how you did it, you should keep doing it for every event in order to minimize failure.
And probably now keep setting higher standards.
Yes.
You do the post-mortem after the event, and then how do you raise it a notch higher? There's a post-mortem when you have done the thing is dusted, and there's pre-mortem. So pre-mortem, you're asking yourself, what will go wrong?
Okay.
What if this happened? So that puts you to the level of preparedness of solving crises, the unexpected when they happen.
Yes.
Instead of now just doing the postmortem. The postmortem will tell you, this is where we did well, this is what went well, this is what went wrong,
Okay.
what should we do better?
Yes.
So if you keep with that pace, then every time you'll be taking your things a notch higher, to the next level.
Technology is changing very, very fast, and it's affecting the media landscape as well. As we know, just a few years ago, we had no social media at all.
Yeah.
So as the CEO of Mwananchi Communication, how have you ensured that Mwananchi is sustainable over all these years?
I think with the Mwananchi Communications, a couple of things contribute to the success of Mwananchi. One is governance. Governance is one key component for a business to succeed. Number two is the culture of continuous improvement and innovation. So over the years, when I talk about governance, I am referring to the fact that you have an organization, Mwananchi Communication being part of Nation Media Group. We have very elaborate structures, governing structures. You have the shareholders, principal shareholder is Ernest Aga Khan, but then you have the board of directors at the group level, and you have board of director at Mwananchi Communication as a subsidiary in Tanzania. A very active board meets every 3 months without a miss. And at times when things are not going well, the frequency increases. So what that tells you, the interest for the business, to the business. There are eyes within the organization watching, there are eyes outside the organization watching, and they are always trying to bring you back on track. So below the board, you have the management, executive committee, and then you have management committee, and then you have those other level and all the staff. So the governance part allows us as management to be in check. To be in check, we are answerable to the board. If we mess it up, they deal with us, they guide us, and if we do well, now they always ask you where this success coming from. How do we do more in that space? Yeah. Now, through the same structure, format of governance, also come the element of continuous improvement and innovation. So strategy and counter strategy, you review your strategy every year, every 3 months, every other time. You have the brains coming from the board sitting with you as management. Where are we going? What do we see in the market, the challenges? So those consultation tends to always keep you on your toes. And that enables us to navigate these challenges. So I would say those two being accepting that you need to be a learning organization, experiment, fail fast, something will work. So keep trying.
The way I'm seeing the board meeting and making sure everything is on track, it's as if you have mentors that look out for you guys. Yeah. Now, coming back to entrepreneurs, how important are mentors and coaches in achieving success? And how can young entrepreneurs, even just entrepreneurs in general, find the right mentor? How does that work?
Yeah, I think when you talk of coaching, if I make reference of Vusi's master class, that a coach is someone who guides you kind of on the job training on daily operations and what have you. This is how this is done and what have you. Mentor is more of you looking out to where you are troubled, and then you discuss, and then you are given challenge, you go work on them, because they don't have much time to meet all the time. So to have a mentor, I think you can approach it 2 ways. At least this is how I've done. I've approached it 2 ways. I will be idolizing someone. I follow what they do. I pick interest with the way they behave, they communicate, and what they do. So I start them without them knowing that. And when you have an opportunity, you actually tell them, you inspire me on A, B, C, D. And just by telling them that, you start creating a relationship now. And they start following your progress as well. And sometimes without even soliciting for their advice or what have you, they will offer it to you. And if they see an opportunity, they will loop you in. And in the process, you are starting creating a sponsor somewhere. Someone who now is comfortable with you will speak for you when you are not there. So that is one way. The other is where you have you approach someone exactly asking them, I want you to mentor me. And you should be able to tell them, why are you picking that person? What is it that is troubling you? And at the end of the day, what do you want to achieve? So I had a young person approach me about 3-4 years ago, and the trouble was coping with their supervisors, and seeing I want to do things differently, but this is what I'm facing. And this young man was thinking of even leaving the job. So we have this conversation, and I ask him, so when you are told this, how do you respond to it? I see it doesn't make sense, so I said, no, how about trying to do, can you go try do it this way? He went, he did it, and it's like, he did not even wait for the date we are said to meet again. He called and said, it has worked. So what he was looking for was good relationship, working relationship with his boss. And why did he pick me? I asked him, said, no, I've seen you, the way you reach out, you talk to the youth. I want him to also talk to me that way. So again, you start telling, I mean, we differ. So everyone has their different approaches, so you have to just embrace it. So I'll say, sometimes be clear, why are you approaching me? What do you want to become at the end of the day? And you have to set some time frame for mentorship. Yeah.
Most people underestimate what you can do in 5 years, and they overestimate what you can do in 1 year.
Yeah.
That's why most people are not sustainable in doing what they're doing every single day. But you have been in the media not just 1 year or 2 years, 25 years plus. That's a very, very long time. So what are some of the most important lessons that you have learned over that period being in the media space?
I think taking it at a time, taking one thing at a time. I mean, if I'm in this space now, I do it to the best of my ability. And then if I do it well, that's a plus packed in the bag already. Yeah. So that's one. Number two is being in the media, we impact people. And sometimes when you are a media person, a journalist, you tend to confuse journalism with, you get into the journalism side of things by believing that using your pain or what, you can discipline Musa. I can show you, I can put you in your place. So you will win, you'll put him more in your place. But the satisfaction or the image you'll be building, the reputation you'll be getting from the public will be different. I don't know if that should inspire you to be in that space. So over the years, I've always taken journalism as a tool of impacting people and development. Information is power. So if I do a piece which will not please someone in authority, because I unearthed a lot of something that is going wrong, and in so doing it is denying a certain community the resources they need for social services, that's a public good. So the community will feel the impact of that report, but the person sitting in that office, executive, district executive, whatever, will not be happy. But with time, I believe he knows or she knows what she's doing is wrong. So if we focus on the impact for that matter, and then when you are maybe critiquing something, I always think of, so is there a way out? And in journalism, it's called the solution journalism. Don't just be a champion of explaining a problem. How do you bring into the conversation the element of finding solution, so constructive criticism? So over there I've been looking at it that way. The other thing I learned, which has also become so useful in my career, is whatever knowledge you get, whether you are in a conference, whether you are reading some book or in a literature, find something you can apply. Find something you can apply. You might get 10, 20 ideas, but if you pick even a small one, you implement it. After a year, you might have implemented 10, 20. 5 years, you said 5 years is a long time, 1 year, 20 years. But now imagine every year you are doing 5 good things you learned times 25.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
So you keep growing every
Keep
single
growing,
year.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Bakari, for joining us. Before we end the podcast, we have a new culture that we've started where a previous guest leave a question for the next guest, and you will be able to leave a question for the future guest, not knowing who it is. So you'll just be leaving a question for them. So the previous guest left a question for you, not knowing who you are. They left a question. If given a chance in the next 5 years, where do you see the world in gender equality in your industry? Is it men equal to women, women above men, or men above women, which is the current challenge that we are facing?
So gender issues is a very topical issue now.
Yes.
And we as Mwananchi Communications has been running a program called, an initiative called the Rising Woman.
Yes.
Rising Woman was built along 3 main principles. One, tell positive stories about women who have been successful. Yes. Number 2, recognize organizations which have set good internal framework policies to elevate, to help women ascend to top position.
Okay.
And number 3, recognize awards organization living the gender balance, that in their leadership across the organization, they are close to that 50-50% or even high. Why did we do that? It's exactly because we believe as Mwananchi Communications, we have a slogan saying, empowering the nation. So how do we empower the nation? We empower the nation through different aspects. So if there is this challenge of women empowerment, how do we play a role in that space? Okay. So we came into that, and when we are launching it, our situation was worse internally. We had very few, 1 or 2 women in our, 1 woman actually, in our senior leadership position. So that did not stop us from starting that. We said, let's start, tutapigwa mawe, but that should teach us also to thrive to get there. The one thing so I've been involved in a lot of campaign and women development initiatives.
Yes.
And from my early days, I've grown up not looking at women as they're incapable.
Yes.
I think that's my problem at times, because I tend to expect women to not give me the card of I'm a woman. So you are a man, you're a man. If you're a man, you're a woman. If I give you the task, I expect you to deliver the same way as. So when you bring me the card of a woman, I'm troubled, because I grew up in primary school. We had one lady, or Nesta Libali. She was beating us in exams. Secondary or level, we had Patricia Membe. She was beating us.
Exactly.
Patricia Membe and the Gilbert Iliangwa, they were trading the number 1 position. Equally, Gilbert Iliangwa and Onesta Libali, hivyo, primary. So I grew up seeing women are capable as equal. So the trouble I'm having now, why did I say that? The trouble I'm having now is, I think, and this is a bit sensitive, but it has to be said, I think I always feel it is not right for women to lock themselves up somewhere and they want to solve the problem of gender equality by themselves.
Okay.
Because what we are seeing now, the affirmative action, yes, has helped. There has to reach a point where for us to make progress, the two sexes need to work together.
Okay.
There are more discussion now of when we were empowering women, why did we forget to empower this young man on how to deal or engage with an empowered woman?
Yes.
And the definition of an empowered woman is they are different, but so we are now in a space where there are more discussion now coming up that what about a boy child? So are we said in 5 years time, are we on the highway to now tilting the balance the other way, and then after some other years, then we started putting more effort the other way, or do we want to have something balanced? I don't have an answer. That's a complex, but that's how I look at that challenge. But whoever left that question, it was loaded.
Thank you very much. Now, could you please leave a question for our next guest, not knowing who it is?
Not knowing who is. I'll ask him or her to tell us, how do we fast track bridging the gap of understanding between corporate executive and the young executives, entrepreneurs who are the future of this country, but they are not anywhere near the formal decision-making process.
Thank you. very much. I think the other person also has to sit there saying, "Wow, this question is done."